obviously this season you guys are going into a lot of hype and expectations. So with that season starts next week, how ready are you guys just to get out there and play?
We feel extremely ready. You can feel the vibe out there at practice. Everybody from the vets to the young guys are itching to do more, than just go against each other. So I think we'll be able to put on a good show next week.
Ryan Aber.
Hey David, good talking to you again. I want to ask you about the depth of this linebacker group. Excuse me. How much different is it now than when you got here a couple years ago, as far as just the number of guys who are ready to play, starting the season especially?
It's exactly just how you said. A couple years ago, we ain't had that amount of number of players that were ready to get on the field and make an impact right away. But this year we have, I would say every single person in that linebacker room is ready to get on the field and play and do it at a high level as well. And I don't think there's ever going to be a drop-off when another linebacker comes on the field and one comes on. I think we're all equipped to do exactly what this defense needs us.
How does that change the dynamic in camp and practices, just knowing that there's that many guys who have a chance to play? I'm mainly talking about the guys who are going to be starters or play significant minutes. Does that push y'all maybe in a different way than you saw when you got here?
I think it definitely pushes us, but I wouldn't say it's much different than when we first got here because the mentality instilled in us from Coach Grinch, whether there's somebody behind you or not, we're always going full speed and we're always, striving to do our best and everything. But yeah, definitely knowing that there's always another man that could do the job as well. I think that always keeps you on edge,
Appreciate it, David. That's a good one.
Yes, sir. You too.
Jason Kersey.
Hey, David, I wanted to ask you another depth question, but actually about a different position group. The defensive line seems to, and last year they were so good. This year they've got so much depth. What does that do for you guys as linebackers when you know that the defensive line is as good and deep as they are?
Mm-hmm. Well, it really gives us so much more confidence on the back end because we know that quarterback doesn't have a lot of time to sit back there in the pocket, especially not comfortably. Because, like you said, we got a bunch of guys up front getting after him and putting pressure on the quarterbacks early. So it gives the back end a lot more peace of mind, I guess, knowing we're not going to have to be covering people all day because that ball's coming out quick. No matter what the reason is, we got a defensive line right in their face. So it gives the back end a little bit of a security blanket.
Thanks, David.
Yes, sir.
Eric Bailey.
Hey David, I wanted to ask you too about just the importance of special teams. You made some big plays in your career at special teams. Just how important is it for some of these younger players to realize that special teams takes importance and you can really contribute to a football program by kind of paying your dues and doing some special teams work?
Mm-hmm. It's of great importance, especially here at OU. All our coaches across the board express that to our young players that the best and easiest way to get on the field or even to travel to away games and all that, you got to make an impact on special teams because that's where you're going to be noticed first. Once they see you, straining on special teams and proving that you'll do anything to be out on that field, that's where your opportunities are going to come from.
David, I appreciate it, man. You have a good week, okay?
Yes, sir. You too.
Bob Prisbillo.
David, the second year at this spot, but not even able to go through a regular offseason, a full summer. How different do you feel, or how much more comfortable do you feel now, and what has Coach Odom really brought to your game?
I feel way more comfortable and nothing. I feel extremely more confident out there because, like you said, it's my second year in this position. I've been through a whole off season, so now I feel like I can start taking more of a leader role, as in last year. And through my eyes, I'm focusing on learning the position and perfecting the position and everything. Now I feel I could be more of a leader and be more vocal on the defense, And that's another thing Coach Odom has brought to my game. Like, he's brought so much confidence in me, just letting me know that, like, this isn't my first year here anymore. I know the scheme. I know what I need to do. So I'm focusing on, being the leadership aspect of the Mike linebacker position now.
Jenny Carlson.
Hey David, you guys last year obviously played in reduced capacity stadiums, and you guys put on a good front. You always said said it's okay, we'll play anywhere, but how hard was that, and how is there a level of excitement knowing that that's largely going to be, I mean, that fans are going to be back in more full force this year?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say it was necessarily hard to play without those fans because at the end of the day, we love this game and that's what we're out there to do. But I will say we are extremely excited for the fans to be back because we know the impact that they can make on the game as well. So we're all excited, especially the young guys. We've been trying to tell them like it's not going to be the same. Even the freshmen from last year, it's not going to be the same as what you saw last year. Like that OU Texas game. It's not going to be just a little bit of packed. That whole stadium is going to be packed out, you know. So it's definitely exciting, and I think everybody on the team is excited for our fans to be out there cheering for us again.
Hey, you mentioned the younger guys. I was actually also going to ask you, if you don't mind, about an older guy, maybe the oldest guy on the team, Caleb Kelly, being that he's getting back out there after what I know has been harrowing. What has he been like as this game week approaches and practices have gone on? What have you seen out of him?
I've seen nothing but good things out of Caleb. That's a close friend of mine, and he's always so positive. And you just see the excitement out of him, so that does nothing but bring excitement out of everybody else. Because even no matter what position he's in, whether he's hurt or like right now back on the field, you see the same level of enthusiasm, and he brings that out of everybody on the defense. Especially when he makes a play out here in practice, everybody goes crazy because that's the vet, and he's finally back in his element, you know.
You're not calling him pops or granddad or anything?
Nah, I don't take it that far.
Okay. Thanks, David.
Yes, ma'am.
A couple more. Lee Benson.
Hey, David, Richie Grimes said something yesterday about his development. He said he watched tape just from last season. He was surprised at how much he's improved and how much better he's gotten. And he talked about how the film room that I believe that tape was put up of Nick from a year or two ago, and just seeing his development as well, just as an example for all the young guys to say, hey, look, you guys can get better. Curious from your perspective, how often do you pull up tape of yourself, back when you're in a different position, wearing a different number, and kind of look back and thought, man, I've got this much better, and how much have you changed?
That happens often, like even sometimes by surprise, just watching film of old opponents of our old games, and I see myself at the rush position, and like just stuff like from my level of physicality to my speed and just my awareness of the game in general. Like I watch that film, I'm like, that's a whole completely different player, because right now I feel like I wouldn't make any of those mistakes, and I kind of beat myself up when I see a mistake I made as a young kid. But you could tell, like, it's just that's a young player. That's a you could tell that player on the film was new to the game. So I love seeing now that that I don't have that hesitation or that lag when it comes to going out there and playing loose.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
James Hale.
David, ever since you've been here, you've made big plays. You played in two different positions, and you've been involved in some huge games and made big plays. You've seen the emergence of the speed D, and you know as well as anybody, what that's meant and what you guys are buying into. Talk about the speed D and what it's mean to you and the guys and why it works for you guys so well.
I think it's because of Coach Grinch and the mentality he instills into the defense. Like every day before we got to practice, he has something that he gives us. He gonna get in front of the whole defense and talk to us. And if you're not inspired after that, then you're not in the right sport, because there hasn't been a single day that he hasn't gotten us fired up. So I don't think outside of the scheme is mainly just the mentality that Grinch instills in us, because we take that, and no matter what call we get, as long as we play with the correct mentality, we should come out on top more times than not.
You guys still getting candy bars and stuff for big plays?
That's like a fall camp type thing, so unfortunately that's over now, yeah.
I got you. Have a great day, man.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any more questions for David?
Yeah, I've got one.
Go ahead, Steve.
How is the effort to get players vaccinated going, and how big of a factor is that going to be in OU success this year?
The effort wasn't, I wouldn't say it was that hard. I don't think it took too much convincing for guys to get vaccinated. We have a lot of the team vaccinated. I don't think that's going to be a big factor into what goes on this season.
Thank you.
Okay, that's all our time with David. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.